Hello, and welcome to another FAQ Monday. I'm your host, Fluff, and long time no see, guys. It's good to be back. Got my coffee, I got my questions, and we're ready to go. Let's just jump into it, shall we? As Philly D says, every time. First question! We've got a pretty beefy IEM system, but our biggest problem seems to be, usually novice, sound guys who don't know how to deal with all of our lines. Any suggestions on simplifying things for sound guys? So having just done a 6-week tour traveling with our in-ear system, I can tell you that there is no real good way to deal with an idiot sound guy. We are lucky in that our drummer, Chris, is a front of house guy for a living, and when we give the front of house guy at any given venue tails, which is just simply we have a bundle, a wiring bundle coming out with XLRs. We have 8 XLRs that we give him that are basically, you can think of as microphone ends, and for them to plug into their patch box. If they don't understand that, there's no helping them. There were several instances on our tour where Chris was literally having to show the guy how to work the X32 mixing board that the venue had. I mean, it gets pretty bad. The best you can do is just help them through it. Being an ass doesn't help, as I found out, when you smart off to the sound guy. But there's nothing really you can do about inexperienced and idiot sound guys, unfortunately. You can just do your best to explain the system and the tails, because oftentimes the lower level sound guys will look at the tails and just go, what is this? I don't know what this is. You just explain to them, on the other end of this is a microphone that you simply just don't get to see. It's just sound. Here's your direct sound. These are 8 DIs. Here you go. If you say it like that, they usually go, oh, okay, it's 8 DIs. Yep, 8 DIs. So it's the best you can really do. I mean, it's just kind of a tough situation to be in. If you had to gig without a bassist, what would your setup be? Actually, during this tour, we had to figure that out really quick. What we ended up doing, since we have a bass amp and a full bass setup with us out on the road, we tracked the DI for the set in one take, toning one take to the whole thing. I will preface this by saying we have a MacBook running ambient tracks for between the songs, so there's just not silence. And the laptop is also running our light show that we now have. So we just simply played him a click and played the set, and he tracked the bass in one take. You don't have to do it in one take, but he just tracked the bass DI into the computer in the hotel room, and then we simply reamp that bass DI through the bass amp setup in real time. So there is still stage volume, there is still a bass amp being played, and then the front of house can take the DI out of the Mesa Boogie amp and pipe it through the front of house. So it's as if a bass player is standing there playing the bass, as opposed to just putting a stereo DI track through the PA, which I am not a huge fan of. So if you're gonna have to have a ghost player, Mac, he's a great guy, very reliable, do it this way if you can. If you already have a MacBook or a computer setup of any kind, just get a reamp box and reamp that bass track so you have some stage volume. It's really the best of both worlds. Did you really just get a Sony A7S II? How come? There was a few reasons. I am using the Sony right now. I just got it. This is literally the second video I've ever used with the Sony. But the Sony has 4K. It's a full frame sensor, which the Canon C100 is a super 35 millimeter, so that's really a crop factor of 1.4 versus a 1.6 on a regular APS-C sensor. And it also has 120 frames per second slow-mo, which I am actually in need of for some other stuff I am working on, and the Canons don't have that. But the C100, being a cinema camera, has amazing audio options as well. Powered XLR, 2 of them into the camera, which the Sony does not have. It's very weak in the audio side of things. So they're 2 different things for 2 different purposes, really. But I'm really enjoying the Sony A7S 2. It's been a lovely camera so far. I got to see our videographer Austin out on the road using it a lot, and yeah, I will stick with this setup for now. Do you do all of your guitar tech work? I do most of it these days. The only thing I can't really do is fret levels and really in-depth stuff like that, but otherwise I have, you know, files to slot nuts, guitar and bass nuts, so I can just basically do my full setups as needed. But these days, I don't even have to do that because all the guitars that I get from either Ernie Ball or Balaguer are all set up and ready to go to how I like them. So I'm doing that less and less these days, but I still do it for friends and, you know, family and my brother and things like that. So, you know, it's always good to know how to do a full setup on your stuff, and I highly recommend anyone to learning that kind of a thing for themselves, if not for anything else, to save yourself some money. But yeah, I do most of my own setups. And now Fluff reads a tweet. Touring is just driving long distances to ask for someone's Wi-Fi password. My suggestion to you this week is to check out the brand new record, Better Off, from the homies, The Home Team. This record sounds incredible. The songwriting is next level. It's pop punk at its best. We just got done touring with these guys for several weeks on the American Safari Tour, and I think you guys would really, really like the songwriting on this album. Go check it out. I will link to it down below I will link to it down below in the description. I thought you guys would enjoy it. I've been loving the hell out of it, and simply thought you would too. All the Pigment links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.